Well, now to our focus segment. Joining us in the studio is Dr. Franca Attoh, Associate Professor of Sociology from the University of Lagos. Thank you very much for joining us, ma'am.
You're welcome.
It's good to have you in the studio. Now, the country has witnessed an increase in communal crises across different states, from north, south, east, you name it. And how can we live peacefully and socially as an entity called Nigeria?
There must be a conscious policy to live peacefully, as you put it. I recall some 20 years ago, Nigerians could reside anywhere in the country. As a young person, I grew up in Obalende in Lagos. And I know that then, you wouldn't know who comes from where. There's always this tendency for people to do things together, to cooperate, simply because everybody saw themselves as a Nigerian first and foremost. In fact, you'll be amazed that when someone starts school, your parents will look for somebody who is already in that school. It is that person that will go around the neighborhood trying to pick those who are about to start school. And there was nothing like religious intolerance in the sense that we all look forward to all the festivals. Ilea, for instance, you knew that a ram will be slaughtered and each person will eat. Christmas, everybody looks forward to it. The same thing with Easter. Now, as a sociologist, what we should be asking ourselves today is, what happened? A number of things had happened to the Nigerian polity, as you said. The fact that these primordial variables came to the fore is something that needs to be interrogated. How come that Nigerians that used to live together suddenly began to see themselves as people from different ethnic groups? One, politics is part of it. Why? Because you find that most politicians today, they knew that on a clean slate, they cannot win an election. So the only way they can, what they can do in order to be able to win votes is to converse those primordial sentiments. I am your own, or I belong to your religious divide. Then secondly, poverty is a veritable issue. In the 80s and late 70s, irrespective of the wage you were earning, I remember as an undergraduate, the minimum wage was 125 naira during the time of Shigari. But that 125 naira is worth over 100,000 today. Because you find those who are on 125 naira, they were able to feed very well, pay their rent, and they're even able to buy electronics if they save a little. I don't think anybody on 50,000 naira today will claim to live well or even to be able to pay rent. And normally when there's this kind of, palpable poverty, there's a tendency for people to begin to see each other as competitors. So you find that aggression and conflict comes into the mix.
I remember a few years ago, we were named one of the happiest people in the world. And at that time, we didn't have, all the things that we want as a country. So I'm also wondering what changed again.
Yeah, a number of things have changed. Unfortunately, most people don't keep a tab on these dynamics. When we were named the happiest people in the world, the standard of well-being was better, comparable to what it is today. Recall that some few years back, the exchange rate was 197 to $1. Today, how much it is? These have implications for people's standard of living. If you go to the market, you will know. I don't know whether you do. I do. So I keep a tab on. In fact, how I know whether we're doing well or not is when I visit the market. Previously, with 1,000 naira, you could make a stew. Today, you will be very lucky if you could make a stew with 3,000 naira. 4 pieces of tomatoes is about 500 naira. Now, the minimum wage is 18,000 naira. I mean, these are things that we don't even need any economist or a statistician to help us to be able to, to interrogate or articulate. These things are there. 18,000 naira for somebody who is maybe a married man with a family of 4 or 5. You pay your rent.
I can imagine.
Okay.
Now, in the past, and over the past few years, governments at different levels have tried to, hold meetings, bring together conflicting parties, and I'm wondering, should we do more of this? Do we need to do more of this?
We should do more of what I called social engineering. Now, the country has gotten to a stage where we need to look ourselves in the face and tell each other the truth. I was watching when you were trying to introduce the program, issues of migration, for instance. Why would somebody leave a space for another? It is to seek better well-being. You're looking for a better life. So government has to sit down to ask themselves, Why are we having these conflicts? Jos, I could still remember as an undergraduate, Jos was the place to visit during the holidays. And Jos was, you know, it was so vibrant. You wouldn't know who is who. Today, Jos is a place that even if somebody decides to pay for you with a good 5-star hotel to the hilt, you wouldn't want to go to. Another place I visited was Sabongeri in Kano. And Sabongeri in Kano is one place that if you have a good ear for language, living in Sabongeri, you could learn how to speak Hausa, you could learn how to speak Yoruba, and then speak Igbo. I'll give you an example.
Very quickly, how do we, because time, how do we bring peace?
The only way we can bring peace, first and foremost, is to look at our economic policy. Whether we tell each other the truth or not, our economic policy has failed. It has not put food on the table of the average Nigerian. Now, once a man is contented, once a man has food, a good job, a place to sleep at the end, you find that the man will rarely think about where you come from or the religion you profess. That is one. Then secondly, politicians must learn to tell the truth. You know, when they are canvassing for votes, they give us a litany of hopes and promises. Then at the end of the day, you find that hardly any one of these is fulfilled. Right. And these are issues. We are all contending for the little resources that is available. Right. And that is why the conflicts are all over the place.
Thank you very much for sharing your insights with us on News Across Nigeria. Dr. Franca Attoh.